Hi, I'm Giselle.
And I'm Xana.
And together we are
The Strong Sunflowers.
Hello, Strong Sunflowers. It is Monday. Z and I are recording this podcast right now at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. So it'll be live to you guys in 2 hours. We hope this Monday brings joyous week for you. I hope you're prepared for the week. I hope you set up your intentions so you can crush those goals. But yes, we hope that you prepared Sunday for Monday and this week so you can just crush your goals this week. You freaking got this. You're a strong sunflower. But before we dig into this podcast episode talking all about self-love, loving our bodies, and showing up, you already know, like, share, subscribe to your mom, to your friends, to your cat, to your grandma, to go follow the Strong Sunflowers. You know, we love the grandmas here. You know, they support us. They're our number one fans. We love you. But Z, what are we talking about tonight?
Queen. We had spent the whole month of March talking about the Love Your Body campaign, and we wanted to kind of have a end cap of all the things that we've learned and just have a really honest discussion about like where we're at with our body love journey. You know, like we're not perfect at this. We've been honest with you from the beginning of the podcast. Like we are not perfect role models. We are learning alongside you. We are in the STEM with you. And so today's really about us being vulnerable and kind of talking about where we're at in certain aspects of body love and body positivity. And so I'd love to kick it off with a question, G. So I'm going to pass it to you first. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, that's what I thought. So one really important topic when it comes to body love is normalizing body diversity. And I think as a woman that has grown up in the United States all her life and was an adolescent between the year like 1995 to 2004, I did not see body diversity. I saw the Victoria's Secret Angels. I saw Britney Spears and Beyonce. I saw Christina Aguilera. I saw supermodels. And so as a short, athletic built woman that's very chesty, I felt at odds with my body at all times, right? And so I'd love to know, like, how do you think we can continue to normalize body diversity?
I think we can continue to normalize body diversity by diversifying who we follow on our socials. I feel like we interviewed Hannah, a boudoir empowerment photographer. She was amazing. And she talked about this. She talked about making that shift, especially in her social media, because she found herself judging or looking down upon her own body. So she went to her social media and started unfollowing and following more people that look like her. But in this sense, yes, following more people that look like you, but also just following people that just look different between skinny, short, tall, all the things, and have them in your field because that's what creates diversity. You know, not everybody looks like me and not everybody looks like you. So creating that space that represents the real world, because our online world, even though we're in there a lot, it's not reality. But if we can make it as close to reality as possible, because when we go to the real world, especially me, that I love traveling. So when I go traveling, you see people, all diversities, all sizes, shapes, all of the above. Like when I went to Peru last year, most Peruvian people, when you go to Cusco and the more indigenous areas, they're really short and they're so cute. I love them. But I was like the tallest person in the town sometimes. And even with that, I think I was also like the only Black person in the town at times. So I remember when I was in Machu Picchu, someone asked me to take a picture with me. I was like, sure, wow, I'm famous. But no, having that diversity in that specific moment right there, when you don't, not even body, just looks in general, when you don't have that diversity, having that curious mindset of not just being like, oh, this person's different, I'm going to stay away. It's like, oh, wow, this person is different. Like I felt so loved and I felt so cared by the people there. And they were just curious and they wanted to know. So I think that when we change, especially social media, what we're looking at, and we diversify it to look more like the real world and not just the BBLs and the double D's. And I'm like, yeah, I can't relate. Okay. I'm not the chesty friend. I was blessed with the booty, but not the boobies.
I love that, G. I'll give you my boobs. You can have them. But it's so, so true. I think like social media and media in general. I think, having the young leading actress alongside the old rich man are, the standards of movies of the past. I've been seeing a lot more diversity and women directed films, TV shows, and I feel a shift coming, right? In this day and age. I think we're seeing more representation, which I think helps, right? When you can see women that have wrinkles and don't have that Kim Kardashian look, it just makes you feel like, okay, hey, Kim Kardashian can live her life and do her thing and look the way she wants, but that's not the standard for everyone, which in the past, it wasn't really that way. When you were sharing the story about Peru, it made me think of an experience my sister had when she traveled to Japan. And at the time, this was like in like the mid 90s, probably. And she had like that Demi Moore haircut, which if you are older than probably or younger than like 34, you probably have no idea what this means. But in the 90s, a very popular haircut for little kids was like this bowl cut, even for girls. And it was popularized by this actress named Demi Moore. And so my sister had this haircut and she goes to Japan on a birthday trip with my mom, who's a flight attendant. And everyone in the city in Tokyo, where they were like going to eat and whatnot, thought she was Macaulay Culkin because she was like this white kid from the United States and had a bowl haircut, which was popularized for kids, like boys and girls. And so she has a photo that, may still be in a restaurant in Tokyo, Japan, where the owners thought she was Macaulay Culkin. So diversity does matter. I love the picture taking and whatnot, but yeah, if everybody looks the same and then somebody has this different look, sometimes that can feel a little ostracizing, right? Or like alienating. And so I think it's important that we reject unrealistic beauty standards. Another thing I think of what I've seen on social media is there's like these reels that'll go around with the Kardashians or Rihanna or Cristiano Ronaldo, and it shows their kind of before and after, and they're like, you're not ugly, you're just poor. So you can't have the makeup and the hair done and the clothes that are super nice. And like with stars and actors and rich people, they can go and get the hair extensions. They can go and get their teeth fixed. They can go and get that plastic surgery. So you can't look at someone like that and then compare yourself. It's not right, right? And so I think rejecting those unrealistic beauty standards, stop following or consuming media that makes you feel bad about yourself, and look for people that do look like you or that are diverse from you, that make you feel empowered to be your authentic self. So I'm totally in line with what you are thinking about that, G. Couldn't agree more.
And even building on top of that, how can we emphasize health over appearance? Because for the longest time, going on vacation or just even losing weight, we're doing it because we want to look good. We want to look good enough. We want to look like the supermodels. We want to be skinny enough. And that is not a good reason to be going to the gym, because again, that's not sustainable. Because the beauty standard is always changing. So how do you think that we can kind of like stop that self-sabotaging? Because we're not setting ourselves up for success. We're setting ourselves up for the now, but not for like the longevity of like treating our body with respect and feeding ourselves what our body needs for energy and not being like, oh, I'm going to fast like 10 hours because I'm trying to do this new keto fasting diet and lose all this weight because I have an event coming.
Yeah, it's crazy what we do to our bodies when we want to look good for something. And I remember being a cheerleader in Hawaii and prepping for Daytona. This is coming up now. If you are cheerleader fans, it's happening this month in Daytona, where cheerleaders from all over the United States are competing. And girls, especially, like they'd go on fruit diets, they'd consume more drugs that would help them lose weight, right? So that they look good in their uniform and they're like camera ready because you're on TV. It's like it's on ESPN. And sometimes I would fall victim to that. And other times I just go buy cookie dough at the store and say, screw it. Like I was, never really the one that would kind of starve myself. But in high school, I definitely did. I was in a different mindset. And so I think some things that I've recognized, especially as I've gotten to like over 35 and your body just doesn't respond the same way to exercise as it maybe did in like your early 30s and 20s. I've had to focus more on like how I'm nourishing my body, right? What food I'm consuming. Am I getting enough sleep? Because that has a huge impact on how my body feels and how healthy I am. And am I engaging in physical activity that's making me feel good and it's sustainable? I read a book, and I know I've talked about it on the podcast before, but it's called Burnout. And they talk a lot about how the health industry, most of the research that's been done, it's been done for like men. And so um when you kind of hear about, especially motivational speakers, they're like, oh, in the morning, wake up at 5 a.m., get your workout in, right? But sometimes, especially women who go through cycles, sometimes our body needs more sleep when we're on our period, right? It's not in the same like rhythm as the male body. And I think sometimes we try to, fit ourselves into this mold in a very patriarchal world. And sometimes it's about just listening and being like, okay, right now it's that time of the month. That means I need more sleep and the exercise doesn't need to be so intense. Maybe I should do yoga, right? And how often do we, I used to do boot camps and hit and do all these things. And I was exhausted still. And so that workout, that body movement wasn't good for me at that time. And so I think a piece of this in regards to kind of seeking out health over, killing ourselves just to look good is listening to our body, checking in with it, meditating, like reflecting on what we've done and what's getting in our way, and recognizing, okay, I feel foggy right now. Well, why? What did I eat the last couple days? Like, how much sleep have I gotten? Like, we can kind of assess and attribute the way we're feeling to how we've been treating our bodies. And I think very often we just ignore that, right? We ignore what our bodies are trying to tell us. Gee, I'd love to know what you think in regards to emphasizing health over appearance. What are your thoughts on the matter?
I think definitely going back to the 5 tips of becoming a strong ass sunflower, tip number one, self-love and self-care, like getting to know yourself and creating that home for yourself. But before I dig into that, because right now I'm reading Welcome Home and the book is fire. If I feel like we need to start a book club. If you guys haven't read this book, I'm on page 30 and I already 10 out of 10 recommend. But before I get too far, I love what you mentioned before, because in 8 Rules of Love by Jay Shetty, he talks about this. He calls this the mind and the intellect. So maybe this is something that we can use to help us when we're in these circumstances where we're kind of like giving ourselves some negative talk. So the way that he describes it is, for the most part, we use the mind. And let's say we're looking at ourselves in the mirror and we're like, oh my gosh, I look so bloated. Oh my gosh, my skin is dry. Oh my gosh, I look horrible. And then he talks about like the intellect, meet that mind with the intellect. The intellect is going to give you that background information in the sense that it's like, okay, why do you feel bloated? Oh, you just ate pizza. You just ate pasta. Or it might be that time of the month, or it's coming. Why is your face breaking out? Again, it could be that time of the month, or you just came from the beach and you forgot to put sunscreen. That's why your face is all dried. So like or you didn't hydrate, you haven't been drinking water. So the intellect kind of like rationalizes what you're trying to say. What your mind telling you making any sense at all? Because most of the time, especially when we're talking negative to one another, it's not making sense at all. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so dumb. I'm not smart. Okay, let's go back to the intellect. Why do you feel dumb? Is this something that you've never done before? Did you forget to study? Did you not study at all? Did you don't did maybe you didn't even know you had a test today, or you haven't been in school because you've been sick and you missed out. So that doesn't mean that you're dumb. It just means that you weren't there to learn the material. So the intellect kind of brings you back to reality. And I feel like if we use that more in our everyday life, not only with our appearance, um, because we can definitely use it when we're like, oh my gosh, my hair doesn't look the way that I want it. Oh, I haven't really been eating well. So my hair is going to suffer from that. Like our diet, everything is affected. Everything works together. Everything is a field that works together and nourish all of ourselves. So I think it's very important to bring that intellect into everything we do because that helps us ground ourselves in the reality of like, hey, everything has a cause and a reaction. So this happened because of this. So how can we fix this? Like you said, getting more sleep, eating better, um, deep conditioning our hair. If your hair's dry, it's not because your hair's trash. It's because hello, you haven't been taking care of it. But the book that I'm reading right now, oh my gosh, it's all about self-love and self-care. And it's called Welcome Home. And hey, hashtag love your body. Our body is our home. And that's the most important home that we'll ever own. So in the book, she talks about a verse and a saying that she's been telling herself for the past couple of years. And it says, the mountains that you are carrying, you were only supposed to climb. Wow. Like, how many mountains have we been carrying on our back? Like, oh my gosh, I need to have the cheerleader body. I need to have the J-Lo booty. I need to lose weight because I'm going on vacation. How many of these mountains we carry and then we bring them into every situation? Like when Z shared about surfing in Hawaii, it's like, how many of those mountains when we were just supposed to climb them? There was just a part of her life that we were just supposed to climb through, again, go through the stem and reach your bloom moment. And of course, it's going to be a cycle. But oh my gosh, that made me think about so many things, even from our traumas. How many traumas do we still have on our back? From either people calling us fat, people calling us too skinny, people calling us that we're too much, people calling us that we're not enough. We carry that instead of going through it. These are mountains that we just needed to climb through. So I love that.
I love that too. And I bought Jay Shetty's book just because of how much you've talked about it. And initially I was like, this seems like for single people or people that are going through like rough spots in their relationship. But like, no, like based on everything that you've said, especially what you just said on the podcast, like I'm excited to continue reading it. And it sounds like I need to add this one to my list as well. So maybe we should do a book club. I would love that. But I love that you brought up traumas as well. Sometimes I think we can't even tap into our intellect because we're in that fight, flight, freeze mindset because we haven't dealt with our trauma. We haven't dealt with the mountains that we were only supposed to climb and that are on our back. And so I think a part of, choosing health over appearance is dealing with the skeletons in our closet. If there's something that's going on in your life, whether it's trouble at work or trouble in a relationship or past traumas from childhood or from a prior relationship with a partner, with a romantic partner, with a friend, right? Go get therapy. Go get therapy. Write in a journal. Get it out of your body because, another thing that I've learned in a lot of the books that I read, whether it's Brene Brown or the Nagowski twins or Jay Shetty, is that your body keeps score. That's a book too. It's a good book. It knows, right? That trauma that you've experienced, if you don't deal with it, you carry it with you. It may take the form of a mountain. And so it's important that you you seek out the help that you need. And sometimes that's, therapy can work. And I've learned there's so many different types of therapy for every type of learner and adult and child and teen and tween. It's accessible to everyone. And there's so many apps out there that exist now that are more cost friendly. I know one that I've used with my kids is Sondermind. And then I loved BetterHelp. I'm switching to a new app just based on like a lot of times jobs will have benefits with a lot of these apps. So if you're, so another thing you can look at if you're in corporate America is some of these apps are covered free, right? So I'm switching to one called Able To. There's so many resources out there. And then sometimes there's there's behavioral pieces in our life that like are baked into our DNA, right? That are hereditary that you need meds for. That doesn't mean you're broken. Just means you're different. You're diverse, right? And I think showing yourself that respect you need, getting the meds you need, getting the psychiatric help you need, getting the therapy you need is what enables you to show that love and that body positivity to this amazing tool that we have to accomplish so much in our lives. So I love that you brought that up, G, and I really can't wait to look at this new book. It sounds amazing.
They're all so good, so good. We definitely need to start a book club. But the challenge, we challenge you this Monday for the rest of the week to do something to love your body, to do something to move your body, to do something to show love for your body, to do something that makes you feel joyous to be alive, and to have this tool. Use this tool. We're so thankful that you're in our field, and we hope you guys have an amazing week. We'll see you guys on the next one. Ciao.
Ciao.